Hi all, Aid from Which Bike here. Well, I'm on this fantastic beast now. I tell you what a bloody good bike. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm outside a church. I thought that's apt. You've probably seen me start a bike review in actually a cemetery. So here it is. It's, well, you know all about it by now, Ducati Streetfighter V4. This is the S model, so it's got the semi-active O-lings. There's the giveaway sign down there. It's got the front. People say something about the Joker. Can't see it myself. Great bit of marketing. Straight away I'm looking at this thinking, why is that not in carbon? Why is that not in carbon? But then again, that's just me. Fantastic TFT. Let's look at it. Ducati, bring me to the party. Look at that, very clear. I'm a big fan of TFTs, has to be said. And it's actually got a fuel gauge as well, which is fantastic. I missed out on my bike, must admit. Side stand up, tells you what light mode you're in here. It's got your modes as well. Obviously it's adjustable, road, sport and race and rain. I've been in road, I'm going to put it on sport and I'm going to put it onto race. Just get a little flavour. Now I can tell you, when you get 6,000 revs, this thing shifts. And that's just in the road one. So sport will be mad and race might be a little bit berserk. You might only want to be on the racetrack. They've made it so that when you're in traffic or when you've stopped or when you're idling, it's on 2 cylinders only to stop the heat output. Does that mean it doesn't now roast you anymore? Not quite. I have got roasted nuts by an open fire, and yes, they are a bit sweaty. I won't go into graphic detail, but this bike still kicks off the heat, but it is not quite as bad as I remember being on the V4 Panigale. Fantastic looking bike. It's still got an extra little back piece there, which is always nice. I love that. I do like bits where I see through stuff, like on the MV. Look at that. Nice. Wheels are decent. Single sided swim arm. Not massively convinced about the alloy kind of colour on the front rad side guards and the standard exhaust myself. And maybe if anything they could have carried that on and made these black, but they'd come off pretty quickly. I think you definitely get a solo seat cowl, definitely get a tail tidy, and probably heated grips if you're going to use it all year round, but they're not essential. Now one thing that you will be pleased to know is, and I'll turn it on, the exhaust sounds amazing. Look at that. So obviously it's twin exit as usual, each side down there. Look at that, listen to it. I'll tell you, it sounds fantastic on the road. Very, very impressive. Let's turn that off. So I'm going to take it out for a ride now, let you know my thoughts and my first impressions on this beast. Okay, so let's get this Ducati. That's having a good time with Ducati. Ducati party on the road. Turn it on. Hit the loud switch. Whoa. Lovely. Right, first things first, I'm on the balls of my feet quite nicely, so my heels aren't down. Now, if those who don't know, 30-inch inside leg, I'm pretty much an average 5'10" sort of build. So that's not too bad. Seat seems quite compliant, fairly softish. Clutch, you have to let it go out quite a long way before it bites. Other than that, it's pretty smooth. TFT is very clear. You can see the gear and the speedo and the rev counter very nicely indeed. Well, I hope I can put some beanage on this time. Awful journey down here. That's very smooth. So what can I tell you already that I've already found out? Well, it's very tractable, which means that there's plenty of torque in an urban environment between first, second, third gear. The gears seem quite easy, if you know what I mean. The fueling's exceptional. There's no jerk. It's very smooth. You can kind of potter around in second or third, even third gear in an urban environment, about 25, 30 mile an hour, and it's absolutely fine. So it is very tractable, which means it's very user friendly. Now that's in the normal road mode. I'm going to put it in the sport in a secondo. Work out where I'm going to go. Obviously completely lost already. I know I'm inches worse. I've got no idea where that is in relation to Croydon, where I picked the bike up. So I've been going along. The seat is very comfortable, to be fair. The back pegs are quite far back, so you're in a real jockey position. It's not that they're high, just far back, further back than you'd think. But that's fine coming from a Panigale or a race bike. I mean, so first impressions are your feet are down reasonably well. It's very tactile, very docile. You can use it around town, no problem in the road. Anybody could ride it, absolutely. The handlebars are perfect. It's a very comfortable position. It sounds amazing in stock. You do not need a sports exhaust. Save yourself the 2.5 or 4 grand Ducati charge. Oh, 20. Let's go this way. Oh, well, I've had a lot of fun in race mode. I'm going to take it back to a normal mode now. Go back to street, perhaps. Stuck behind these bloody cars. I hate it in South East London. This bloke's been here for ages. I'm just going to go past him. I don't care. There's enough room. I'm sitting there like an idiot. Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, the exhaust is excellent. It's as good as the Panigale, and you have to wonder why you buy the extra exhaust modes between 2.5 and 4 grand. There's no point. This bike sounds epic. It really does by itself. If you get the exhaust, you're looking at 25 grand total spent, which it brings into play the MV Agusta Brutale 1000 RR, which is a sexier bike with equal sort of power. Also, this Ducati has great power. There's little low down, but it goes ballistic higher up. The other big plus is a fantastic Olin semi-active suspension. It really soaks up the bumps on these rubbish UK roads. You can see right now there's just bumps, crevices, imperfections everywhere. And if you go over a really bad bump, it doesn't upset the bike badly. The suspension and the way it kind of moves really suits the bike. It's much easier to ride than a super sports bike, of course, with the wide, taller handlebars. Perhaps other little negatives are it's got a slightly stiff clutch than you might be expected to. The heat is obviously pretty bad, but not as bad as a Panigale was. And if you're used to Italian motorcycles, then it might not be as bad as you'd expect. The bike is generally easy to turn, certainly much easier than a super sports bike. And it does really kind of enhance the riding experience overall. So I prefer riding this bike to the Panigale. I think most people would be the same. But of course on a track you'd take the Panigale over this first and foremost, especially with the gearing. Another big win I think is the TFT screen. It's great for showing the gears, not bad for showing the speed. Now the revs is pretty poor on the screen that you saw earlier, but you can in fact change this for track use. That's pretty good. And to be fair, it's on a few bikes now. The quick shifter is good, but it's not great. It's not clunky at all. It's just good. But I've seen others out there which are a bit more stunning. But it does the job fine. Now, is the bike worth £20,000? That's the real crux of the matter. Well, I think in America you're looking at $22,000, $24,000, $25,000. Well, no. When you take into account that for 5k less, you're looking at a Super Duke R or Chirono Factory or Kawasaki ZH2 with similar sorts of power, similar sorts of engaging riding experience. Perhaps the best of the lot. Now I've ridden all the lot. Super Duke R is probably the best out of the lot, and that's the one I'd recommend you buying, to be honest. All of the bikes mentioned are perhaps better than even my MV Agusta, but they lose out in certain areas, as does this Ducati. It didn't have the character and desirability and X factor that I was really expecting. Yes, it's still fantastic, and you're going to get people admiring it, but it's not quite as good as I thought it was going to be. And that's my overall underlying feeling with this bike. But overall, yeah, what a bike.